Hi Wildings, it's time for another intuitive tarot card reading. My name is Jade Rewilding and today I'm going to be asking for channeled messages regarding why your person isn't reaching out. I want to find out specifically what's stopping them from reaching out at this time, any blocks or opportunities for healing there might be, and just illuminating anything that you need to know about why you haven't heard from them. So this is specifically going to be for like no contact situations, but if that's not you, there might still be some messages here in regards to things that your person's not illuminating to you, so feel free to stick around, but let's get into the video. Hi Wildings, welcome to your intuitive tarot card reading for the day on what's stopping your person from reaching out to you at this time. We're first just going to open the space. I've already obviously started by placing everything out, but there's still a little bit to go in terms of preparing the space for our reading. If you'd like to skip this, please use the timestamps below to either head to the explanation of what this reading's going to be, or if you know which pile you're drawn towards, you can head straight there for your reading. But for everyone else, we're just going to open the space together, starting by lighting all of our candles. The first candle we're going to be lighting is the one in this oil burner, which I have my Ostara incense in. It is the spring equinox here down in the southern hemisphere, so it's basically pagan Easter here, so we're just going to start with that, if I can get the candle the match to light. Next we're going to light this candle by Little Iris Australia. So it's different coloured candle, which I love. It does have like crystals and like flowers and stuff in it, but I've already burned this in my last reading, so it doesn't look as pretty as what it did when it arrived, but trust me, it looked amazing when it arrived. You can check out my last video if you want to see just how awesome it looked. And finish off with these ones here. Next, I'm just going to draw runes on my fingers for what energy I'd like to draw in and what energy I'd like to send out during this reading. So at the moment, I feel very abundant when it comes to love and peace and harmony. So I'm just going to draw the rune for that on my right index finger, which is your output finger. I am not as ambidextrous as I would like, but that pretty much looks like it. And then on my receiving finger, I'm just going to draw the rune for prosperity, good luck, good fortune, because that is definitely something that I would like to draw in that I don't feel like I have as much of a surplus of right now. But yeah, you can do this at home. If you look up runes, you'll be able to find all kinds of ones, and just whatever you feel like you've got heaps of and you'd like to give some back to the world, put on this finger, and anything that you'd like to draw in or that you don't feel like you really have enough of right now that you'd like to call in, you put it on this finger here. So lastly, we're just going to do one last cleanse of the space using this incense. So just clearing any negative energy. And then protecting the space for our reading. And then I'm just going to leave this incense burning off camera. But that is our opening ritual. Thanks to everyone who stuck around for that. I hope it was calming. It's definitely calming for me. I already feel very calm when I come into readings because I've spent all this time like putting everything out and pre-shuffling my cards and everything. So I hope that was nice for you. Leave me a comment if it was, if you want me to leave that in for future videos. But let's get into our reading for today. So we have 3 piles for you to choose from, and they're all going to be around the topic of why your person isn't reaching out at the moment. It is specifically for no contact situations. But if you are not in a no contact situation and you feel like your person is maybe like withholding some things from you, I'm sure there will be messages for you in this reading, so feel free to stick around. But whenever you're ready, going ahead and checking in with your intuition as to which pile you are most drawn to, either pile 1, 2, or 3. Remembering that if you're avoiding any triggers or practicing any other self-care, that I've always left a brief description of each reading in the very, very bottom of the description box, so you can avoid any triggers or practice whatever self-care that you need. And once you have headed to a pile, I will see you there in a moment. Hey there, pile 1, welcome to your reading for what's stopping your person from reaching out to you right now. So if you chose this beautiful green crystal, then this reading is probably for you. However, as always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and meditate on the rest, that was. Because this is a general reading, meaning that there will be some messages for you, some messages that are not for you, and some interpretations of some of the cards that could be changed a little bit if your energy of your situation deviates from the collective a little bit more than everyone else's. So just always remembering to bring your own intuition and discernment to every reading that you receive that is a general reading. But let's get into reading. So we're getting general themes of this reading first using this astrology deck. Okay. So some of the themes of your reading, pile 1, is better relight that. This is why I keep my matches that I've already used, because they're reusable. Especially when you have little accidents, which I tend to have. Okay, so anyway, pile 1. Themes for your reading. We have Scorpio energy, Leo energy, and the 10th house. So Scorpio is obviously a fixed water sign. It corresponds with the affirmation or the clarification, I transform. It corresponds with the 8th house of beginnings, endings, sex, metaphysics, kind of like the wild stuff, I would say. It also corresponds with Mars and Pluto energy. Pluto is obviously a very transformative planet. And Mars, while it's fiery, is all about passion and drive and kind of like the yang masculine in life. Then we also have Leo energy, which is a fixed fire sign. So a lot of fixed energy here. It's clarified by the affirmation, I will. Leo corresponds with the 5th house of creativity, which also has a lot to do with sex, and like creating and pleasure and fun, and children potentially. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, it corresponds with our sun placement, which yeah, is kind of like all about ego, personality, identity. Yeah. Then we have the 10th house of the world. So the 10th house is ruled by Capricorn and Saturn. Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, and Saturn is a placement that reflects truth and responsibility, especially for our soul contracts in life, and our like life purpose, like really taking responsibility for those things, but more so like kind of all of that sort of stuff in relation to career and the world. So the 10th house has a lot to do with our career, but like more specifically like kind of our purpose here in life, in terms of the world, whereas the 11th house is more about life purpose in terms of how we fit with others, like other people, whereas this is kind of like just more to do with the world. But those are our themes, but we'll get a little bit more specific using this traditional tarot. Spirit, what do you have for pile 1 in regards to why their person hasn't reached out to them yet? What's stopping pile 1's person from reaching out, please? Can you please clarify this full card? And the 9 of Swords, please. And the Ace of Pentacles, please. And the 8 and Page, please. Come on, you're going to clarify them or no? This is a long time to not be able to clarify 2 cards. Thank you. See, sometimes you just got to complain to Spirit and then they're like, okay, I got you, girl. Pile 1, your person hasn't reached out to you yet because they intend to reach out to you to redeem themselves. The Sun card is all about kind of redemption and new starts. And it's very much corresponds with like kind of yang masculine energy. And they know that they're going to have to redeem themselves in a lot of those qualities when they return. So they're not quite ready to manifest their return into your life until they feel really prepared for this redemption. And at the moment, they're holding a lot of like anxieties about how they're going to come in, whether they're going to be able to give you this like abundant new love and new start, and like fullness that they really desire giving you. Because right now they're actually kind of in the middle of seeing the truth of the situation and changing their perception around the nature of your connection, and what everything means. And they're kind of learning how to have a beginner's mind with all of this. The Page of Swords is a much more like kind of innocent thinking and like youthful thinking, and in its like higher polarity when it's coming out upright. It's definitely more about seeing things with a beginner's mind. And 8 of Pentacles is very much about learning and education and kind of like expressing the Pentacle suit in terms of like formation in its fullest. And one of the things that they know that they're quite blocked on and that they're trying to resolve while they're on their own, that may actually alleviate a lot of their own anxieties, is they don't feel worthy when it comes to like their own level of success in the physical. So this might be financial, it might be spiritual, it might be emotional, it might be kind of depending on the person, on whatever situation you're in. It seems like they don't feel like they're on quite the level that they want to be at when they come in for this redemption. And this is definitely a lot of what's contributing to the anxieties when it comes to returning, because they're just like really not sure if they can give you a new start. I'm hearing for some of you, your person definitely wants to be like very like financially abundant and kind of like be a bit of a baller when they come back. But I'm hearing for others of you that it might be more about being like emotionally developed and like spiritually successful and kind of like understanding of what's going on spiritually for them and their own development. So yeah, there's definitely like, I think this 10th house has a lot to do with this 7 of Pentacles in reverse energy. Like there's definitely like a gap for them that they're experiencing around like how they know that they want to show up in the world in terms of like their spiritual or development or financial success or whatever. Like there's just like something missing there for them, and they really want to have that down before they return, so that they can be a lot more confident when they return, because right now they're a little bit anxious about how this connection is going to go if they're not in a place that makes them feel very comfortable. And reaching out would essentially just be too far out of their comfort zone. And they may even self-sabotage because they're just like in a lot of doubt. So kind of coming in would do them no good at this stage. But they're definitely very determined with this Leo I will energy. And it's definitely something that they want to transform and change within themselves. Like they're not like in this space from a place of like being resigned to it or thinking that there's nothing better for them or anything like that. They're definitely in this place with like kind of sheer determination of like, I will transform this, I will get this shit together, so that I can experience something different with this person. With you, that is. Yeah, so it's definitely like very quiet confidence in terms of end game, but definitely not confidence in the right now moment in terms of reaching out. Like for them, there's definitely still some stuff to work out. Do you have anything else for pile 1, please, in regards to what's stopping their person from reaching out? There's probably some karma they're clearing, and like they're definitely preparing for reuniting with you. They definitely see reuniting with you as their destiny, but they definitely know that they're not ready yet. I'd say their karma has definitely negatively impacted them in the way that they show up in relationships, especially. I think they potentially like were just like super defensive and just kind of like expecting like partners to betray them. They weren't really expecting anyone to really be there for them. And so they had a lot of karma to clear in terms of like, especially kind of that self-sabotaging energy that I was talking about earlier. There's just like a lot of stuff for them that they don't want to bring into this connection, and they have to kind of sort out before they arrive here, like ready for this redemption, because or else they'd just like kind of be blindsided by their own stuff essentially. Yeah, they're definitely like out of balance with a lot of things, and they're trying to kind of balance in themselves first so that they can balance with you. They know that until they can kind of like really rely on themselves and trust themselves and like be able to give themselves kind of what it is that they need to feel like comfortable and safe and all that sort of stuff, they're never going to be able to give that to you. So really they're working on their own inner balance so that they can be a better partner for you, because while they're out of balance, they're not really going to be that good a partner, and they know that. So I think behind the scenes, there's definitely lots of like hard work going on, but I don't think they really want you to know how hard they're working. I'm getting from this card coming in reverse that they might be trying to hide their work from you in some way. Like they've either like potentially like blocked you from like contact with them or social media or anything, so you kind of like can't see their journey and what they're doing. And I think this comes down to them being maybe a little bit afraid that they might not succeed. So they definitely don't want to like be very obvious that they're like essentially working on themselves in hopes that this connection will reunite. They're kind of like really keeping that on the down low because they're not confident in themselves. Like my hope for them is that they'll be confident enough to like proclaim, no, this is what I want, this is what I'm working towards, and blah 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 blah. I don't think that will necessarily happen for everyone, to be honest. Like that's very hopeful thinking. But yeah, at least for some of them, I hope that they'll be confident enough in this connection to one day be able to like make that really obvious. But I think, yeah, definitely their work is on the down low right now because I think they're a little bit afraid that like you'll move on, or like they won't succeed, or they'll always not feel ready, or they, you know, like all of those stories that they might have going on. But let's see if there's anything for you in the Oracles pile one. Yeah, precious time. The Fairy of Time wants you to experience every moment fully and make the most of your precious time. Be mindful not to waste others' time either. So pile one, this person's definitely trying not to waste your time by not telling you about or making it obvious about all this work that they're doing, because they just want you to be happy. So they don't really want you to like kind of wait for them or be hung up on them, and that's why they're not like showing you that they're kind of doing all this work essentially to come back for another turn, another redemption. So they're trying not to waste your time, and yeah, they definitely don't want you to like wait for them, so to speak. And I think a lot of that has to do with both fear of failure on one side of the coin, but also like just genuine love and care for you and wanting like just your happiness at the end of the day. But let's get some channeled messages from your person. Let's just see what they would say. Whoops. I don't know if you can hear the rain here, but it's like really pouring down, so please believe in us. Okay, so they do want you to believe, even though they don't want you to be set on them, like they don't want anything set in stone, but they want you to believe it's possible. I'm trying to open up to love. Yeah, so they're definitely doing a lot of work in terms of like getting over all this anxiety and like this redemption that they're wanting. I'm afraid of being misunderstood. I feel unworthy of love. So probably a lot of these have to do with this like unworthiness that we were talking about earlier. I don't have anything to offer right now. You are my perfect mirror. Yeah, so they definitely learned a lot from this connection, and like you mirroring to them like all these ways that they were out of balance and like kind of not showing up, like that was instrumental in them like starting all this healing for sure. I want you, but I'm afraid. This connection feels like it was a match made in heaven. I know that I'm caught in the same cycles. Yeah, so this is them clearing karma. Like, they're very aware of it and they're doing it very intentionally right now. My fears are getting in the way of my feelings. Yeah, like I said, there was a lot of like fear-based stuff for them coming up. I'm trusting the path. And I'm getting from this that they want you to trust the path too. That there's probably still a lot to come for you guys in terms of healing. And I think, to be honest, like, probably you'll do some of that healing together, especially with that mirror message coming out. But there's definitely still some healing to do on your own. And I think it's important that you surrender to that healing, that you both surrender to that healing. It'd be nice if your person could surrender to the fear as well, and just let it be there. But, you know, that's really on them. That's for them to decide what they want to do with it. Anything else for pile 1, please? Self-love. Yeah, I think for both of you right now, this like separation is very much about really connecting to that self-love and like being able to balance within yourself and love yourself before you can really do that with another person. Sovereignty. So it's important that you both connect with your divine and sovereign selves right now. Like there's, you know, like a kind of big picture version of you that both of you are connecting with, like a more divine version of you. Your dreams need a practical plan. So I think this has a lot to do with kind of like really actively working on the healing that you're doing. Like, I'd say your person definitely has a practical plan in terms of like their side of the healing that they're doing. Like, I'm getting that this person is probably very practical and logical, especially with kind of so much swords and pentacles energy coming out. So yeah, they definitely have a plan in terms of like what they want to do and achieve before they reach out to you. And it might be worthwhile for you to have a think about like what you want to be doing with this time, and maybe putting a plan to some of the healing that you want to experience in yourself, and just like thinking about what can you do now and like starting with that. Do we have anything else for pile 1, please? Surrender to the divine. So you've got surrender here twice. There's definitely probably a lot of surrendering that needs to happen. There might be some clinging on both sides that's making surrendering like a little bit more prominent of a message. But yeah, kind of, yeah, if you can, see how you can surrender in each moment to kind of what is, and figuring out what in you is resisting the what is, and working with that energy, because that in itself will be very healing. So it seems like your person is really missing you and potentially looking at your photos. That might be on social media. They may be like very nostalgic about the time that you did spend together, however long that was and however long ago that was. And they definitely desire to make new memories with you, for sure. Do we have anything else in the love oracles for pile 1, please? Cupid's arrow. Have faith, love is coming, surprise, invitation, or meeting. So yeah, just definitely like surrender to the divine, have a lot of faith, work on your self-love and your own sovereignty, and know that love is coming. It's like this person really wants this redemption, and like the more you can focus on you and your own self-love and your own self-healing, like the better that energy will be for your person, because essentially like you changing that energy within you kind of like really like frees them to not like worry about disappointing you, which I'm getting that they definitely do worry about that, and will free them to just really like focus on themselves and focus on their own healing at their own pace, and like it'll actually give them like a lot of like a bigger sense of freedom and expansiveness by you really trusting. Oh, you guys got the soulmates card. Soul connection, partnership, agreement, soul contract. So I'd say everything that you guys have been through so far has all been part of a soul contract. It seems like before you guys got here, you definitely made some sort of agreement to teach each other the lessons that you're teaching each other right now. And so like really invest in learning them, because apparently it was very, very important to you before you got here that you did learn them. I'm getting this surrender, just given that it came out twice in a short amount of time, is probably important. But yeah, trust in this connection. It's definitely a soul connection, and that everything is going to happen exactly as it's supposed to in the time that it's supposed to. But let's see if we can get an affirmation for you, pile 1, to help you through this time. Can we get an affirmation for pile 1, please? I hope that you've been able to hear me all this time over the rain. I'm sure you will, but it is like a very soothing background noise. I probably didn't need to have my lo-fi beats on right now. You got any affirmations for pile 1, please? Anything for pile 1, please? So your affirmation is I allow transformation, I flow with each phase. Yeah, there's a lot of transformative energy right now in this connection. I think this connection was always meant to transform the two of you in some really meaningful way. And it's definitely important that you flow with the phase, which again is like this surrender energy. So definitely see how much more surrender and flow you can invite into your experience. Because it seems to be something that's going to definitely help. But I think I'm going to leave that there, pile 1. I hope you got everything out of this reading that you really wanted and needed. It's been a pleasure reading for you. And if you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would really, really appreciate it, because it will help me stay on your feed for more intuitive tarot card readings. But until then, ciao. Hey there, pile 2, welcome to your reading for what's stopping your person from reaching out to you right now. So if you chose this beautiful purple crystal, then this reading is probably for you. However, as always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and meditate on the rest, because this is a general reading, meaning that there will be some messages for you, some that aren't, and some interpretations of the cards that could be a little bit different for you based on your situation. Especially if your situation deviates from the collective energy a little bit more. But let's go ahead and get general themes for your reading. Spirit, could you please get the general themes about why pile 2's person isn't reaching out to them right now? Alright, so we got karma coming out first. Any other themes for why pile 2's person isn't reaching out to them right now, please? Any other themes about why pile 2's person isn't reaching out to them? Is it really just karma? Is it really just karma? Okay. I'm getting that it's just karma, really. So South Node Life Stats, it's very rare that I only get one card. So this could be interesting. I'm very curious to find out why there's only one card here. But we're going to find out using this astrology deck. Okay. Alright, well, I took the sign, and here we are. Okay, yeah, so interesting. Just karma, hey? Interesting, interesting, interesting. I'm like a little bit like almost expecting this to be like maybe about a karmic. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to see how the rest of the cards turn out. I hope that's in the shot. Can you get clarity on this Four of Pentacles too, please? And the Ten of Cups and the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands, please. Pile 2, it is very clear to me why I was feeling so much agony when I was pulling these cards. Your person is definitely agonizing over a lot of stuff right now. There's a lot going on for them. They are probably entertaining some sort of karmic connection right now by the looks of things. It seems like your person has potentially forgotten their own power. And fallen subject to their own stories. So the Five of Swords in reverse kind of illuminates someone falling on their own sword, which essentially means like creating a story in your head and believing it to the point where you allow it to cause you pain. And in this case, it's also stopping your person from like seeing things clearly and definitely disempowering them. It seems like they've definitely been tempted by kind of desire and attraction and like kind of this devil in the low polarity. Like they've definitely, the devil within is like wreaking havoc for them right now. Like definitely creating lots of stories, definitely disempowering them, definitely like fogging their mind in a lot of ways. And it seems like a lot of this has to do with your person just really, really, really wanting to get out of the agony and grief that they feel over being in separation from you. It seems like this separation caused them worlds of pain. They're no longer happy. They no longer feel aligned with themselves and their true calling. And like they just essentially are just like desperate for it to end in a way that they're kind of like looking for any rescue or lifeline right now. I'm hearing that for some of you, they've like potentially have some addictive tendencies and are maybe playing some of those out too. And they're just kind of looking for wherever they can get that like spark of like love and joy again, because they in themselves are definitely just like so overcome with so many emotions. And like it seems like this isolation is definitely kind of like tempting them into a partnership with kind of anyone at this point. Like it doesn't seem like they're overly picky or choosy, which is potentially why there's been some space for a karmic connection to enter. It seems like what your person is really struggling with right now is befriending the beast within. But with this card coming out upright, like it seems like they are going to have success when it comes to this. So yes, they're in like this huge pivotal like moment of agony and anxiety like right now in this moment. But this strength card coming out tells me that they're understanding that a lot of this stuff that's playing out for them right now has to do with the animal within, has to do with their own fears, their own potential like addictive tendencies, codependent tendencies, and like all that sort of stuff. And they're wrestling with it right now. And they're definitely doing it in a like, they're definitely like, there must be this like empowered part of them that is still alive, even though a lot of it's being like kind of blinded by like all this stuff essentially, that is really wrestling with it. And in my eyes, they're going to come out on top. Had this card come out in reverse, I would probably be saying that the karma and temptation might get the best of them, but just this card coming out the way that it did, when it did, I'd say that they're going to come out on top when it comes to this internal struggle they're going through. They're gonna like find their way through their stuff, and hopefully see it for what it is, or at least see the majority of it for what it is, so that they can kind of come back to this like empowered place. But yeah, it definitely will be a time for them, for sure. It seems like they're destroying essentially everything that they aren't right now, or in the very near future. But right now they definitely might be consumed by all the things that they, all of their like karma, so to speak, all of this kind of lack of clarity, disempowerment, being swayed by temptation, falling on their own sword side of stuff. They're definitely consumed by that right now in this moment, but they're definitely going to be able to rise above it, and essentially start new cycles, because they're going to be able to see everything much more clearly. Do we have anything else for pile 2, please? This is, oh my god, this is just so turbulent, guys. This is a very turbulent time. Yeah, so this is more like lack of power and clarity and like action, and yeah, like this person definitely hasn't come into this magician archetype yet. The magician archetype is like the first masculine archetype, that's like essentially like kind of a temple for God, so to speak, and just like a very intentional, powerful creator, and very wise when it comes to what they give attention to and why they're giving attention to something, and like how to like really be super conscious and aware of that, and aware of what's going on around them. So yeah, they definitely haven't come to this place yet, but this seems to be what they're working towards, just based on the energies that are coming out. But let's get some channeled messages for your person right now. Let's see what they would say. So we have, I'm afraid I messed it up. I need you. I want to let you in. I'm manifesting the most healed and aligned versions of each other. Even if they don't know it yet, based on all this stuff they've got going on, that's definitely what they're manifesting underneath it all. I wasn't ready for this. I'm afraid of losing my freedom. Yeah, that's probably a lot to do with this, like kind of like being tempted by the devil, like masculine kind of desire. Like there's a very strong desire for freedom. All I know is self-betrayal. Yeah, this person has definitely betrayed themselves in order to get that freedom, even if it like meant losing something that actually mattered to them a lot more. You inspired me to work on myself. Yeah, so I think they definitely want to do this work, even though they're consumed by it. It's like kind of like I'm sensing kind of this like kind of like dim light in their sphere right now, is like them actually being inspired to move forward. The connection is worth the wait. I was avoiding my own feelings. Yeah, I think this connection is worth the wait. might have a lot to do with your person's higher self, who's probably very connected to you despite them going through all of this right now. Like I'd say the 3D version is definitely going through a lot, and a lot of what I described, especially at the start, was like 3D them, but definitely 5D them. Like they, without realizing it in the 3D, they have their sights set on this magician archetype. Like that's what they're chasing. That's who they want to become. They're actually probably like much more evolved than what they give themselves credit for with this Emperor coming out upright. The Emperor is kind of like the magician once he's been like tainted by earth, I would say. So like it's still a very divine masculine, but it also comes with kind of like all the kind of like masculine wounding, like the traditional masculine wounding that we have. So yeah, so I would say it's just like not as much of a fullness of the divine masculine as the magician is, and it seems like your person is trying to go from here to here. In the 5D, they're aware that that's what the path is, but in the 3D, they feel like literally everything's falling apart. But I would say that that was probably the 5D plan for them to actually get to this place, was to create a very turbulent time right now for them to actually be able to shift some stuff and understand things differently and see things from different perspectives, and really explore their shadow, because you cannot get to the magician and high priestess archetypes without exploring shadow. Like they are very, very connected to their shadow. They understand it. The magician especially is very aware of it, like able to see and sense it. Ooh. Okay, so for oracles for you guys, we have abundance, moderation, and inner child. I'll definitely say that you're both working on your inner child right now. And you're both like overcoming like old destructive patterns, and like moderating like what's healthy and what's not healthy for you, and like upping more of the healthy behaviors, and like trying to let go of some of those unhealthy behaviors. It's definitely for your person. That's definitely what they're doing with like this addictive stuff that I mentioned earlier. And you're definitely on a path to more abundance, like based on all this work that you're both doing. I think it's important in this time for you to both like work on this inner child healing with like some fun as well. Like don't make it all like deep, dark and depressing. Like where can you invite in some joy and happiness as well? And remember like all the things that both of you already have. Like it seems like your person definitely is discounting like the abundant like Emperor energy that they might already have. But hopefully they'll come to that realization very soon with this realization card. Yeah, they're going to realize a lot of stuff. They're going to grow a lot more. And the connection between the two of you, if you do both choose to reunite, is going to be much more beautiful and abundant than what it was before, because of everything that you've been through. I find it interesting that this South Node card came out again. Like it seems like probably a lot of the reason why your person's agonizing doesn't really have to do with what played out with the two of you, but more to do with like their own karma from their past before you. And potentially like you guys being in separation right now is about them dealing with their karma from before you, so that they can meet you with more clarity, so that they can meet you and like really witness you and like not be projecting like all their stuff onto you. So I think the two of you definitely in this time need to be like clearing old karma and like understanding your shadow, understanding like what projections you might make onto each other, like based on your stuff. So yeah, definitely be very conscious of your karma in this time. And there might be some karmics for both of you in terms of like sorting out karma, like, and that's not necessarily to say that you like those karmics are like a risk or bad or negative in any way. Like sometimes when we're in separation from someone, like our partner needs some karmics to kind of come in and kind of like show them some things about how maybe they were projecting onto us, or like things that they actually really liked about us, or like whatever, and same for us. And it's not that those connections are like kind of getting in the way, they're actually helping. Like I think sometimes karmics get a really bad rap. Like a lot of the time they're helping, they're not necessarily making things worse. Okay, so we also have stabbed in the back and healing heart. So definitely the two of you are healing your heart. And I don't think this is necessarily solely about healing from the hurt from each other. I think the stabbed in the back has more to do with like kind of all this South Node stuff, like all the karma from the past. Like that's all the stuff that, all that pain was coming up in this connection, and like is potentially being projected onto each other in this connection. But that's really what needs to heal. Like that like before you guys needs to heal, so that the two of you together are not like caught in projection and like not actually able to like see each other, witness each other, experience each other in your fullness, because you've got all this like gunk from the past. Like I would say, like all of this is all about karma for you guys, and clearing karma, and like meeting each other as clear slates by the looks of it. Like that's what all of this seems to be about. I was worried, I'm not gonna lie guys, I was worried when I first saw this spread. I was like, uh-oh. But now that I've seen kind of like how everything played out, I'm a lot more confident in this connection, because I was at the start, I was like, this is not gonna be a fun reading. But you know, things are not always as they appear. But let's get you an affirmation to help you through this time, pile 2. Can we get an affirmation for pile 2, please? So we have, I am divinely protected at all times and in all ways. I am safe from all harm. So this probably has to do with what I was talking about a little bit earlier about karmics not necessarily being bad. I think if there is a karmic situation, like it's not bad, boo. Like it's just like it's part of the plan, it's part of the healing. Like karmics can teach your person a lot, they can teach you a lot. Like just because you have like a kind of like little soul connection that's supposed to teach you about like a part of your shadow or whatever, like that's not bad. Like it might be a rough lesson, but it's not bad. Overall, positive. And know that like you're definitely, like your guides are looking after you. Like yeah, there's so much positive energy around you that's protecting you. So definitely trust, like big trust for this. But I think I'm going to leave that there, pile 2. I hope you got everything out of this reading that you really wanted and needed. It's been a pleasure reading for you. And if you can like, comment and subscribe, that would really help me stay on your feed, which I would love. But until I get to do another reading for you, ciao. Hey there, pile 3, welcome to your reading for what's stopping your person from reaching out right now. So if you chose this beautiful crystal, then this reading is probably for you. However, as always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This is a general reading, so there will be some messages here for specific people. And there may be some interpretations of the cards that could be slightly altered to better fit your situation. If your energy deviates from the collective a little bit more. But let's get general themes for why your person might not be reaching out to you right now using this astrology deck. Okay, that was very ready to come out. So we have the Destiny card, which is pretty self-explanatory as far as cards go. But then we also have the Jupiter return, which like essentially brings about what the Jupiter placement essentially does. And essentially the Jupiter placement is about luck, abundance, good fortune, and like all of that kind of bigger is better kind of energy. Jupiter does correspond with the 9th house of spiritual development, faith, like travel, and like sometimes like higher tertiary education as well. And Sagittarius energy, who's like a very curious seeker, traveler, teacher, like mutable fire sign energy. We also have the sun, which is a which rules Leo, and the 5th house of creativity. So it has a lot to do with like the sun specifically has a lot to do with like ego, personality, but the sun in relation to what it rules has a lot to do with like fun, sex, pleasure, potentially children, more of your like spirit and yang side. And Leo is obviously a fire sign. It's a fixed fire sign, and it's like a very like willful and bold kind of energy. So Sagittarius and Leo are kind of like the main zodiacs, but then the Sun and Jupiter placement and the 5th and 9th house. But let's get a little bit more specific using this traditional tarot, shall we? Spirit, could you please get a little bit more about why pile 3's person is not reaching out to them? Okay. Can we get clarification on this? Can we also clarify? Thank you. And the Ace of Wands, please. And the 8 of Swords. Pile 3, I'm getting that your person might be a little bit older than you, and a lot of the reason why they're not reaching out right now is because they're very aware that the two of you both have a little bit of growing up to do, to use their words, in order to be better partners for each other, because it seems like the two of you probably just like essentially weren't ready to be in connection just yet. So I'm getting that you're definitely this like Queen of Pentacles energy. So she's at one with like Mother Nature. She's like a lover of all creatures, all animals, and just like very sweet and connected. She's a very like mothering, nurturing energy. However, her shadow can be a little bit enabling, and a little bit like kind of making excuses for people that she loves. And she doesn't always have the same boundaries that, say, the High Priestess energy has. Like the High Priestess is kind of like peak feminine, like archetypal energy. It has a lot to do with like kind of like embracing the fullness of like the witch archetype essentially, and very aware of like the unconscious mind, and how it's playing out, and how your patterns are playing out, and like kind of being able to rise above it and really witness it, and yeah, like essentially like kind of embrace both the light and the shadow within. Whereas the Queen of Pentacles, I would say, can get a little bit so caught up in like nurturing that she doesn't always like witness her own shadow side of that nurturing, which sometimes can be a little bit to do with like people pleasing or something like that. Like she can be a little bit blind to that. And I'm sensing that your person perceives this about you at the very least, even if that's not entirely true. They do think that you sacrifice a lot for other people, and I'm getting that maybe they don't really trust themselves to like not take advantage of like your very sweet and nurturing nature right now. It seems like they, at least the way they see it, the two of you need to go and do a lot of your own kind of work. The nines in like Kabbalah Tarot represent like creating a really firm foundation for refinement and like reflection, and it seems like your person really wants you both to like kind of like go away and reflect and refine like how you're showing up in this connection, so that you can come back together a lot more balanced in the future, because it seems like you weren't in the past. And in the past, like I think both of you were like maybe lacking a lot of insight to how you were each contributing to each side of the story. Like you were each contributing to the problems, and you're each contributing to avoiding the solution essentially. And definitely your person like also wants you to go find like what lights you up and your true passions and desires, and what makes you feel like satisfied and like full and whole and complete when it comes to love, and maybe even psychic abilities and sensations, and like kind of like getting more into this high priestess energy in its upright position, I would say. Your person definitely wants that for you, and they are potentially seeing that potential in you, but they know that if you were together that you'd probably be so distracted by them and what they wanted, and like so preoccupied with kind of what they had going on with this kind of Queen of Pentacles energy, that you might like abandon like what it is that you want in life. And they really want to give you the space to like go and work on that. It seems like your person definitely thinks of the two of you as like a destined partnership in the future. So I'm sensing that they kind of felt like it was the right person at the wrong time. And yeah, they really at the moment don't really have an intention to end this separation with you. They think that it's important for you guys to be apart in order to work on yourselves. But it's not malicious. It's with the intention of experiencing a much more whole and complete and grounded and beautiful new love in the future, that's just so much more abundant, because the two of you have worked on yourselves and are so much more abundant within yourselves, and like can give to yourself a lot more, and like understand yourself a lot more, and like feel a lot more just like, yeah, a lot of this Jupiter like return, like just abundance, like kind of coming home to yourself to give yourself all the things that you really want and need, like without relying on another person necessarily. So yeah, that you each have more to give in this connection, because you know how to give to yourself. Yeah, I'm sensing that in themselves, like, so I think for them, they want to see you in more of this high priestess energy. And I think for themselves, they want to see themselves in more of like this like really empowered leader energy. Like maybe in the past that they haven't always been able to lead this connection the way that they really wanted to, kind of like that divine masculine kind of leadership energy. And they definitely want to embody that more within themselves. So that's definitely what they're working on, while they hope that you're working on this like high priestess energy. Yeah, and I think they just need time to do that, to be honest. And I think actually them like kind of initiating this separation is actually part of them trying to lead this connection. Like they kind of saw what was necessary, and maybe they avoided separating for a while, or maybe they didn't do it in the best way, but it's them trying to lead this connection, I'm hearing. I can't remember which way these came out. I think it was this way. Yeah, so they're definitely not ready to manifest this connection back in the physical yet, because they're still working on the two of you coming like kind of home to your power and feeling really clear and content within yourselves before you guys reunite with each other. So yeah, this Ace of Pentacles coming out in reverse tells me that they're just like definitely not ready to manifest this connection back yet. And just, it's really important that you work on yourself. It seems like definitely kind of like delving into your past might be of benefit right now to kind of like understand how you've potentially been blindsided by some of your own shadow in the past. Yeah, I think your person really wants you to reflect on really what lights you up as well. So this Knight of Swords energy is kind of like a very youthful kind of like going after what you want with kind of like, you know, kind of a relentlessness, I would say, relentlessness. It's also like in these cards at least like portrayed as a very witchy archetype, so I think it has a lot to do with like maybe coming more into this high priestess energy. But yeah, I'd say a lot of the reason why you haven't already done this work, there must be some sort of like something going on. There must be something that you're holding on to, some sort of pain, some sort of fear, some sort of maybe fear of rejection or something, fear of abandonment maybe, I don't know. But there's definitely something going on that's blocking that for you, and your person wants to really give you the space to go figure that out. And they want to figure out their shadows. They want to figure out why they're not showing up as this kind of like leadership energy that they really want to be in. But let's get some channeled messages from your person. Let's see what they would say to you. So we have, I feel lost. I think this is definitely about how to kind of bring about this more leadership energy. I'm afraid of self-sabotaging. Yeah, I think they definitely don't trust themselves around you with this Queen of Pentacles energy, like you being so mothering and nurturing and like kind of like always putting them first. Like they don't trust that they're going to be able to receive that and not self-sabotage that in some way. So they know that it's definitely important that the two of you are apart and are doing your work right now. I miss you more than I've shown. I think they're definitely not showing you how much they miss you because they don't like want to lead you on. And like I was saying before, you can get very preoccupied with other people, so they don't want to distract you from your work. You understand me better than anyone else. I'm working on myself. Yeah, very much working on themself energy, hoping that you're doing the same for sure. I know you see why this is necessary. Definitely if you didn't before, I hope that you do now. But I'm guessing that the two of you really know that you need to do this work. I'm trusting that I'm learning my lessons. Yeah, so they're kind of like really persisting with this separation, trusting that like it's teaching them what they need to learn in order to progress themselves as a spiritual being, but also progress in this connection with you. But let's see what else the oracles have for you. So we have abundance. Yeah, it's definitely time for you guys to figure out what makes you feel abundant. Like in yourself as like a solar entity. Before you guys can manifest this connection back together. But I'd say like once you do reach that point of feeling like really abundant within yourselves, that's when like you'll feel naturally drawn to manifesting this connection back. I'm sensing that neither of you are necessarily doing a lot of manifesting this connection back. Like maybe you both want it deep in your heart, but you're like not actively actually manifesting, if that makes sense. Like there's a big difference between wanting something in the future and manifesting it right now. There's a lot of realizations for you guys to have in this time. There's a lot for you to learn and love about yourself, for sure. Do we have anything else for Kyle? Whoop! I think, I was gonna say, I don't think that artwork was there before. No, it wasn't. It was flames. It was flame artwork. Okay, we've got a lot here. Yeah, it's definitely important that you figure out some boundaries for yourself with this Queen of Pentacles and High Priestess in reverse energy. Like the boundaries in itself will bring you a lot closer to that archetype for sure. And I think it's really important that the two of you kind of explore any resistance that you might have to reuniting with this connection. If there's something within you that's like resisting this connection at the moment, like sit with that, figure it out. There's probably some lessons in that for you. But yeah, it's definitely a time for change for the two of you and figuring out what you actually want in life, what you're hungry for, what like brings you joy within yourself as an individual entity. It's definitely a time to like act on your own desires and like act on what inspires you and fills you up, and learn a lot about yourself. And yeah, definitely you guys being apart is a form of divine protection right now. Like the two of you just essentially really need to be Han Solo right now. And that's cool because you're creating lots of powerful change within yourself, and you should see like lots of powerful change in the very near future too. Like just keep looking for it because it will be there. Just like so much is changing within you, and it's very positive. It's all really good energy, and it's just very important, especially for you to like really sit with your past, like what we were talking about before, and figure out what it is that's kind of coming up for you in terms of like not really stepping into the fullness of that High Priestess energy. But it seems like the two of you are probably twin flames, like with this twin flame card coming out. Yeah, you guys definitely, like there's a lot of really good positive energy here. Like it doesn't seem there's much resentment on each side. But yeah, the two of you definitely have to overcome your slightly addictive and codependent tendencies right now, for you to like experience the fullness of this connection. Because while there's stuff from the past coming in, like, yeah, you just won't get to experience the fullness of this connection. Like your own projections will get in the way. But it seems like definitely what's on the cards, literally for the two of you at this moment, based on all this healing that's to come. Like if you guys like really persist with this healing and really let this separation be what it is, like there's definitely no reason why the two of you won't end up together in this like eternal love and everlasting promise kind of energy, for sure. Like, but it's very dependent on all this stuff kind of happening, at the very least. And definitely once you guys go through all that healing, it's dependent on you guys wanting to reunite in the physical, which you may end up not actually wanting. Like that's totally up to you, but yeah, it's definitely what's on the cards right now based on the healing that the two of you intend for each other and for yourself. So I allow myself to rest and reap all the benefits of my hard work. So it's important that you don't go hell for leather with all this healing. There's definitely a lot here to explore. So find like joy and all that sort of stuff along the way, for sure. And like know that this separation is real time to rest and come home to yourself and like experience like all the goodness in your life at the same time as like wanting something else in the future. Yeah, I think like try not to stress, try not to like be super preoccupied with like kind of getting back together, because there's just like a lot to come before then. So just kind of like try and like go with the flow, like kind of take it easy through this transition, so to speak. Kind of allow things to happen as they happen as much as you possibly can. But I'm going to leave that there, pile 3. I hope you got everything out of this reading that you really wanted and needed. It has been a pleasure reading for you. And if you can like, comment and subscribe, that will help me stay on your feed for more intuitive tarot card readings. But until then, ciao. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope this video brought you whatever it was you were wanting or needing today, whether that be comfort or relief or just entertainment. But if you made it all the way through this video, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if you can like, comment and subscribe, that will definitely help me stay on your feed for more intuitive tarot card readings. Until then, ciao.